Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Town Council regular meeting for Tuesday, May 5th at 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Madam Clerk.
Okay. Councilor Burrell?
Here.
Fitzgerald?
Here.
Jones?
Here.
Merritt?
Here.
Pacino?
Here.
And Mayor Parker.
Here.
We have 6 present.
Thank you. If we all could please stand for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next up, we have recognitions, awards, and memorials. Council Burrell, could you please take 2026-378, the proclamation recognizing International Firefighters Day?
Office of the Mayor, Town of Groton, proclamation recognizing International Firefighters Day. Whereas firefighters dedicate their lives to the protection of life and property, and sometimes that dedication is in the form of countless hours of volunteering for many years. And whereas International Firefighters Day is observed annually on May 4th to recognize and honor the sacrifices that these firefighters make worldwide, including those in our community, keeping us safe. And whereas these men and women respond not only to fires, but also to medical emergencies, natural disasters, hazardous materials incidences, and other crises, providing critical assistance in times of urgent need. And whereas firefighters commit themselves to rigorous training and continuous education to ensure the highest level of preparedness and service. And whereas we recognize and remember those firefighters who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, and we honor their legacy with gratitude and respect. And whereas the residents of our community deeply appreciate the dedication and selflessness demonstrated by our local fire departments and emergency service personnel each and every day. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council does hereby proclaim May 4th, 2026 as International Firefighters Day in Groton. It encourages all residents to recognize and thank firefighters for their invaluable service to our community. Dated on Groton, Connecticut, this day, the 5th day of May, 2026. Signed, Julian Parker, Mayor of the Town of Groton.
Thank you. Councilor Fitzgerald, could you please do proclamation recognizing Economic Development Week?
Office of the Mayor, Town of Groton, proclamation recognizing National Economic Development Week. Whereas the International Economic Development Council, IEDC, has designated May 4th through May 8th, 2026 as National Economic Development Week. And whereas the International Economic Development Council is the largest professional membership organization for economic developers. And whereas in 2016, IEDC recognized the unique role that economic development has in creating vibrant communities with strong economies. And whereas the Town of Groton Department of Planning, Development, and Public Works will recognize this occasion with a week-long social media campaign focusing on the importance of economic development. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Groton does hereby proclaim the week of May 4th through May 8th as Economic Development Week in the Town of Groton. And further resolved, the Town Council urges all citizens to take part during this extraordinary week and to tune into the town's website, www.groton-ct.gov, and enjoy the special presentations highlighting the value of economic development in Groton. Dated Groton, Connecticut, this 5th day of May, 2026. Juliet M. Parker, Mayor of the Town of Groton.
Thank you. Councilor Jones, please, for National Day of Prayer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Proclamation recognizing National Day of Prayer, whereas a joint resolution of the United States Congress signed into law by President Harry S. Truman in 1952 established an annual day of prayer, and whereas the declaration was amended in 1988, both by the Chambers of Congress and signed by President Ronald Reagan, setting the permanent date for the National Day of Prayer to be held annually on the first Thursday of May, and whereas the National the National Day of Prayer is an opportunity for residents to join in group or individual prayer to pause and reflect on their faith, express gratitude, and seek guidance through prayer. And whereas the day is also marked by prayers and reflection for our town, the state of Connecticut, and our nation, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council recognizes May 7th, 2026 as the National Day of Prayer and calls upon residents to give thanks through their own faith and ask for continued guidance, mercy, and protection. Dated at Groton, Connecticut, this 5th day of May, 2026, Juliet Parker, Mayor of the Town of Groton.
Thank you. Councilor Pacino for Police Week, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Proclamation, National Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial Day, May 11th through 17th, 2026. Whereas the National Police Week is observed annually in May to honor the service and sacrifice of law enforcement officers across the United States, and National Peace Officers Memorial Day, observed on May 15th, pays special tribute to those officers who have lost their lives or have been disabled in the line of duty. And whereas law enforcement officers serve with courage, integrity, and dedication, often placing themselves in harm's way to protect the lives, rights, and property of all citizens. And whereas these men and women work tirelessly to preserve peace, prevent crime, respond to emergencies, and build safer, stronger communities. And whereas we recognize the important role that law enforcement plays in fostering trust, upholding justice, and maintaining public safety. And whereas law enforcement officers commit themselves to rigorous training and continuous education to ensure the highest level of preparedness and service. And whereas it is fitting that we, as a community, express our appreciation for the commitment and professionalism demonstrated by our local police officers each day. And whereas we solemnly remember to honor those officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and we extend our deepest sympathy to their families, friends, and colleagues. Be it now resolved that the town of Groton does hereby designate the week of May 11th through 17th, 2026, the National Police Week, and May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in Groton, and encourages all residents to observe this week with recognition, gratitude. Thanks and respect for the brave men and women in law enforcement whose unwavering commitment protects our community. Dated at Groton, Connecticut, this May 5th, 2026, signed Juliet M. Parker, Mayor of the Town of Groton.
Thank you. Councilor Merritt, please, for Public Works Week.
Proclamation recognizing National Public Works Week, May 17th to the 23rd, 2026. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health and well-being of the people of Groton. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated effort of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Groton to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Groton does hereby designate the week of May 17th to the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with the representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. Dated at Groton, Connecticut, this 5th day of May 2026, signed Mayor Juliet Parker.
Thank you. Now we're on to public hearings. To speak during this portion of the meeting, please sign up at the meeting before the call to order. You may also speak to register in person in advance by emailing council@groton-ct.gov no later than 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Madam Clerk, could you please read the...
Okay, Town of Groton, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-163E, a public hearing will be held by the Groton Town Council on May 5th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. at the Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road, Groton, Connecticut, in Community Room 1, for the consideration of the sale of public property, specifically 244 Monument Street, the former Groton High School property, dated at Groton, Connecticut, this 1st day of May, 2026. Marisol Melendez, Town Clerk.
Okay. So I have 3 who have signed up. The first is Brian Neiman.
76 Allen Street. I support the concept of what is proposed for the Groton Heights School. My concern is the on-the-ground logistics of the project. This is a residential neighborhood. Regardless of what happens there, the project will include demolition and construction. This automatically involves heavy equipment and trucks for the removal of debris, bringing supplies in. Again, this is a residential neighborhood that is subjected to a lot of traffic in the morning and the afternoon from EB, as well as school buses in the morning and the afternoon. Also, the stretch of Meridian Street between Smith Street and the light at Mitchell Street, because of on-the-street parking, is effectively a one-lane road. So it is 2 lanes, but because of the way cars are parked there, you have to treat it as a 1 lane. Also, exiting from Park Avenue, making a left turn onto Mitchell Street can sometimes be equivalent to running a 100-yard dash across a firing range, particularly with the traffic coming south on Mitchell Street over the crest of the hill. So whether it's this project or any project, I would hope that a study and consideration is done of the impact of bringing this equipment in and out of the school property to try to have minimum impact on the residents in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mark Ofinger. Did I say it right? Did I say it correctly?
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. I believe this is probably my 3rd or 4th time that I've addressed the council over the last 5 years on Groton Heights. My name is Mark Offinger, and for close to 40 years, I've lived at 201 Broad Street, which is within a very short walk of the Groton Heights School.
I'm here this evening to speak in favor of the town disposing, selling, or giving the property away to a viable and appropriate reuse opportunity. It's not clear to me by the public hearing notice if what it is exactly we're trying to accomplish tonight. My last recollection is the council has decided to dispose of the property and potentially give it to Echo. So I assume that's what you're looking for comment on, though that's not specifically noted in the public hearing notice. For the record, I do want to let the council, or remind the council, I am both on the Bill Memorial Library Board of Trustees, and I am also on Echo's Board of Directors. This issue has been before the council for close to 20 years. Some of you may recall, or hopefully you have in your file somewhere, that there was a reuse task force final report that was issued in 2012. And in fact, that task force was stood up in 2007. So you and your predecessor councils have been at this a long time. It is, in my opinion, imperative that the current historic structure be retained as part of the property reuse proposal development, which I believe that is Echo's proposal as presented to the council previously. It's also my understanding that possibly the new gym may come down as a result of that proposal. I would ask that the council make the retention of the historic school structure a requirement of any reuse proposal, and that it be called out as such in any reuse solicitation if this doesn't move forward as proposed. The Groton Heights structure has been an integral part of Groton Heights neighborhood for over 110 years. It was constructed in 1911. It was designed by Dudley St. Clair Donnelly, a renowned regional significant architect. Other buildings in Groton he designed include the Pequannock Bridge School, currently the Social Services Building, Groton Town Hall, the Shinnecossett Club House, Shinnecossett Club House Building, Bill Memorial Library, which is adjacent to Groton Heights, and the Groton Congregational Church, to name a few. Mr. Donnelly was a close associate of Morton Plant and was also the architect of many of Mr. Plant's buildings, both in Groton and Florida, including the former Griswold Hotel at Eastern Point. As I believe all of you are aware, when the school was operating, the Board of Ed had a zero-cost arrangement with the Bill Memorial Library to use a portion of the library's property that fronts on Smith Street as part of the school's playground area. To the casual observer, the playground area appears to be part of the school property, but it is not. The Bill Memorial, as I mentioned, I am a board member, has indicated to the town that it would be willing to trade and exchange the land that they allowed the Board of Ed to use for the playground purposes for the finger of land that is technically at the front of the Groton Heights building that goes out to Monument Street. And I believe that's something also the council has considered and is in favor of. I would encourage the town to move ahead with this exchange of land with the Bill Memorial as soon as possible and to get that out of the way. And I know the town manager and his staff are working on that, and we've exchanged, the town and the Bill have exchanged some communications fairly recently about some potential modifications to that property line at the front door, what is currently the front door of the Groton Heights School. As I said, I am a member of both organizations. Ultimately, if you go back and look at the record, at the end of the day, I just want to see this building saved. It would be a travesty if something bad happens to this building, either in terms of vandalism, or given that it basically has not been maintained in any way, shape, or form in over 20 years, that there'd be a collapse or something like that. Thank you.
Genevieve Cerf.
Excuse me, I'm getting slower and slower. Good evening, town councilors. Oh, my name is Genevieve Cerf. I live at 6 Pearl Street in Mystic. Good evening, councilors, Manager Berg, and all of those who are here assembled. What I have to say is pretty short, 'cause I have a new best friend. It's called ChatGPT. And when I tell it I want to write something, he's fantastic. He distills everything down to something compact because he knows I'm chatty and that people won't want to listen. He says, so you just say these things. We work together beautifully. For all of those of you who think that AI is a bad thing, let me tell you, I've been in the AI business for 50 years. These talking AIs are the best thing that ever happened to us. They could change the planet. So here's what we came up with, because it's about the plan of conservation and development, and it's also about affordable housing that we need to build in town, and all these new schools and everything. And Mark Oeffinger, who I'm here happy to see here tonight, because we actually agree on a couple of points, can vouch for the fact that for 25 years, I've been fighting for open space and good development. So now that we're going to develop more, which I think is really important, I want to talk about design. Good design does not increase the cost in the long run. By enhancing the overall beauty of our town, we increase the value of every home and make our town more desirable for people who want to live and invest here. Poor design is expensive. It lowers surrounding property values, it creates resistance, and costs more to fix later. Good design, done simply, protects and increases value townwide. As you know, I spend a lot of time in Germany, where I live with my partner, and they are very conscious of it because they're a 2,000-year-old civilization, whereas, as my partner likes to remind me, we're only a 200-year-old civilization. So we have a tendency to look at building sort of like in the pioneer ways, you know, where you would just like build a log cabin and put any kind of roof on it just to get in there and stay warm. But things have changed. People now want to see something beautiful around them. They want to come to a town and they want to think, oh, gee, this is really pretty. This is a place I'd like to live. They can't do that in Groton because of all the housing that we built after the war, slapdash anyway for electric boat and all the other industries that we have, Pfizer. We didn't build very good housing or very good looking housing. And now you're asking yourself why people don't want to come and live in Groton. They don't want to live in Groton because it doesn't look right. And we still follow the model. Whatever the developer wants to do, we let them do it. We really should not do that. We want Groton to start to be beautiful, to start to look like Stonington or Nowang or Madison, or even Westerly now looks great. Old Saybrook, everybody sort of adopted these design standards. And that's what I would really, the point that I'd like to make tonight, and which I haven't seen anywhere. I would like to see it in the affordable housing guidelines especially, so that people don't feel they're living in inferior housing. You know, you'd be surprised with adding a few trees, a balcony here, you know, just some window boxes. It doesn't have to be very complicated. And the town could, by the way, I think without much expense, give some tax rebates to people who really do make an effort to do good design, because in the long run, it will benefit the whole town. So, okay. So basically, we want attractive, well-integrated housing, which will make the nearby property values higher, and a desirable town in general, so that we have a stronger tax base. Better design up front, will be less opposition from people like the group I used to belong to, Groton Open Space Association, and better design up front. You'll get less opposition from the people, and you'll get faster approvals. It's a completely a win-win thing. You know, when you go to, anybody who goes to Europe says that. Oh, it's so beautiful there. Paris is beautiful. Tuscany's beautiful. You know, even Germany's beautiful. And it really affects Americans when they go there because they're not used to it. And I think it's really time we start to think about it and get used to it. So thank you for letting me speak. And I will try to write up a little bit more about that, but I think you all will start thinking about it. We want beautiful now, not just stuffing bodies into spaces. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm closing that portion of the public hearing at 6:55. Okay. Okay.
Town of Groton, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Groton Town Council on May 5th, 2026, at 6:30 PM in Community Room 1, Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road, Groton, Connecticut, to receive community feedback on the draft 2026 Plan of Conservation and Development. A copy of the plan is on file and available at the office of the town clerk for public inspection on the town website and in the Office of Planning and Development Services, dated at Groton, Connecticut, this 24th day of April 2026. Marisol Melendez, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I have 3 people who have signed up. First is Chloe Mueller.
Hi, my name is Chloe Mueller. I live at 288 Ring Drive in Groton. I am here today to represent the graduate students who work at the University of Connecticut Avery Point campus in the Department of Marine Sciences, and I'm joined by a few of my peers here today. As a group, we are strongly in favor of expanding middle housing options in Groton. Most of the 60-plus graduate students at UConn Avery Point are PhD students, which means they live in Groton for 5 to 8 years, and while many would love to live in Groton, they often cannot afford to. We face many barriers to entry and to obtain affordable housing in Groton. This includes spending 30% or more of our gross income on housing costs, including rent and utilities. Sometimes we need a co-signer to sign a lease. Housing rentals sometimes specify no roommates or looking for families and couples, which is often really inaccessible for students. And then most difficultly of all, we're competing for limited housing with people employed by Pfizer, Electric Boat, and Subbase New London, who often have much higher salaries than grad students. We recently took a housing survey among the graduate students to understand how they were generally feeling, and over 70% of UConn Department of Marine Science grad students had trouble finding affordable housing in proximity to campus. I would like to share with you a few quotes from the anecdotal section of this survey. The first was, "I moved in with a roommate into an apartment in a multifamily home outside of Groton because this situation was much more affordable than living alone in town as a graduate student." A second person says, "My salary does not increase enough each year to match the increasing rent in Groton." A third, "I have to rely on outside sources beyond my paycheck to cover the cost of groceries, as well as use my savings to afford to live near campus, which has become unsustainable." And the fourth, "The options to be a graduate student in Groton seem to be have at least 4 roommates share housing in town, pay for an overpriced place that has some amenities and little benefits, or work in town but live anywhere but Groton." Therefore, expanding middle housing options such as accessory dwelling units, cottages, duplexes, townhouses, and mixed-use buildings benefit graduate students by providing more housing options. This benefit is reciprocal. Having more UConn Department of Marine Science graduate students living in Groton is good for this town. In the 25 to 26 fiscal year, the Department of Marine Science brought in $9,742,247 in research awards. That's almost $10 million. That goes towards supporting graduate student work on local and regional issues like hypoxia in the Long Island Sound, fisheries and aquaculture, pollution, coastal resilience, wind farm potential impacts, harmful algal blooms, and so much more. Department of Marine Science graduate students are also actively involved in community outreach events. We have Women in Science Day at the Mystic Aquarium, Marine Science Day at Project Oceanology, and our annual Sip and Science event where we lead interactive demonstrations at a local brewery. I just want to conclude by saying that we are in favor of expanding middle housing options in Groton. We hope that the town residents and management will take our perspective into consideration as you continue to work on the missing middle housing project. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Genevieve Cerf.
Okay, I'm going to continue a bit on what I had already started by telling you a story, which will probably amuse Mark to remember, since he's probably the only one who remembers it. Years ago, when I was a member of Groton Open Space Association, we used to give the planning department, poor Mike Murphy and Mark, a terrible time on every single development they wanted to do. Because we would look at things like, well, you know, Groton is a huge watershed, so we worry about that. We worry about the trees. We worried about the salamanders, who only came down once a year to mate, and then they have to climb back up to where they're going, and crossing the street is difficult. And so we always had all these, and the trees, of course, we wanted to preserve. And we always had these terrible fights until one day, this one developer who wanted to develop a property now called the Great Brook Homes, decided to come to us directly. He said, I've heard you folks are the ones that we have to negotiate with, so I'm going to start right away with talking to you instead of the planning department, which made the planning department very upset, because up until now, Groton has always sort of begged for developers to come and develop anything. We've had this attitude that, which I don't really understand, that we're really not quite good enough to get good developers to come and do good design. But this guy came from Eastern Connecticut. He loved trees. He loved salamanders even. And he really wanted to work with us. And we did wonderful things, like we came up with the idea of having single driveways, going up a single driveway to go up to 2 houses so that it would reduce the amount of impervious surface. He and our wonderful lawyer came up with the idea that the residents would have a community, a sort of an agreement among themselves not to put toxins, because we were right near the reservoir. We were really worried about what was going to flow into the reservoir. So they were basically going to agree not to wash their cars in their driveways, not to put toxic pesticides and herbicides on their lawns, because that would leach right into the reservoir, not to cut down at least 1/3 of the trees on the property, so that it would provide a good soil and everything. And he had agreed to dig up the nice trees that he really loved, where he needed to put the road, and he was going to dig up the really good trees and put them back in some other nice place. So keep all the trees. And I practically died when one of our members said, well, what about the salamanders? They can't get up the steep sidewalks. Do you think you could make little ramps on the sidewalks so that they can come down and go back up easily? And I thought to myself when I heard this, oh my God, we almost had this thing figured out, and now she wants ramps on the sidewalks. I thought this is going to be the thing that kills the deal. Well, it wasn't at all. The guy said, why not? You know, and he put the little ramps on the sidewalk. It turned out to be a wonderful development, and it turned out that the people who lived there were willing to pay more money for those houses. They were very proud of the fact that they had this community that was aware of sustainability and pollution and all these things, and they took a great deal of pride in abiding by that contract, which the town had nothing to do with. This was completely worked out between the owner and the developer and this wonderful developer. And it turned out to be a really fantastic thing. Now, the thing is, the planning and zoning department got very upset with us. And I said, why are you upset with us? It's a great development. We didn't fight. We agreed about everything. And the people who are moving in there really love it. And they said to me, well, now that you're doing this thing here, all the other developers who come to town are going to think that they're obliged to do the same thing. And I said, well, why not? You know, why do we always have to settle for the least possible effort on the part of the developers? Why don't we start making a few demands that our developments be human scale, you know, that the houses fit in with the houses nearby. In the case of Groton Heights, as Mark mentioned, we have some beautiful buildings around there. So what's going to be built there, you know, shouldn't look like army barracks. It should look like it fits in to that neighborhood. Which brings me to Noank, where there's been a big war, same thing. Noank has a very special flavor all its own, and they don't want all this modern stuff that you want to put there. You know, sidewalks the size of houses and things like that.
Thank you, Ms. Cerf.
Okay, just please start thinking about that human scale and things that people like.
Next up, we have Ian Thomas.
Good evening, Ian Thomas, 24 Jefferson Drive. First off, I'll just say that I commend and support all the previous suggestions and comments. So thank you, Ms. Mueller and Ms. Cerf, for coming out and sharing your thoughts. That I agree 100% with everything you all said. So hopefully that is all taken into consideration. Just for the plan of conservation development, I'll just a few bullet points. You know, like I would encourage you all to attach a priority and a premium value to anything that is environmentally responsible, that employs methods of adaptive reuse. And as far as like a missing middle housing, I encourage you all to support things that allow, create more accessibility for ownership options. You know, say like, you know, when I talk about adaptive reuse and mixed use housing, you know, for example, you got like the old Benny's Plaza, the Big Y Plaza. You have these single story shopping plazas. On top of those things, you could easily put 3 or maybe even 4 stories of living space. And on top of that, not only would that increase the housing stock in this town, it would create a dynamic for the shopping centers. You know, where, you know, there would be incentive for business owners that are there now would benefit from the foot traffic, and also the any entrepreneurs that are out there that might want to take a shot would be more attracted to come here because of that concentrated living. So I encourage you all to take a critical look at the POCD drafts and try to, like, you know, as you make your adjustments, focus on that concept, and also minimizing short-term rentals, whatever we can do to further contain that issue. It's been well documented in many journals and articles about, you know, the dynamic with the proliferation of SDRs, how that creates a negative impact on the sense of neighborhood, sense of place, and sense of community. So we've got to keep a tight lid on that. And you know, to that end, I would encourage the planning and zoning to reconsider the ordinance that allows for the grandfathering to transfer from, you know, from one deed owner to the other. Like, I can understand grandfathering and existing out of compliance prior to, but the use of an SDR should expire with the sale of that property to a new owner. So we don't get stuck with perpetual STRs for generations to come for the places where they are in non-compliant zones. So that's something to think about. Because right now, the ordinance allows for it to be in perpetuity, which is not good, in my opinion. You know, Ms. Mueller's comments got me thinking, you know, my college career was, you know, a story unto itself, but I did do a couple years, you know, in 1996, I started college at Avery Point. And in those years, like, most of my classmates lived in Groton City. In fact, 2 of the guys that I was there for the beginning of the Coastal Studies program, the first couple of years with Jim Kramer, And, you know, two of my classmates worked at Paul's Pasta and rented an apartment right up the street as part of, like, you know, a house that has now, I believe is now a single owner. But all the same, like, there were a lot of affordable apartments in Groton City at the time. And so we need to take a critical look at that and figure out ways, you know, so I totally support, you know, the idea of, like, how can we do better with you know, providing opportunities for people that, you know, study here, work here, to live here. Because again, that's another economic driver. So, yeah, that's about all I got. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I will be closing that at 7:11. And next up, we have receipt of citizens' petitions, comments, and concerns. It is the portion of the council meeting where the council welcomes comments from citizens to address the council. Please sign the sheet on the table at the front of the meeting room. When you are recognized by the mayor, please approach the podium and request that you clearly state your name and address, speaking into the microphone. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. The mayor reserves the right to shorten the length of comments to preserve the order of the meeting. Town council may extend speaking time beyond 5 minutes with the majority vote of the council. To speak during this portion of the meeting, please sign up at the meeting before the call to order. You may also register to speak in person in advance by emailing council@groton-ct.gov no later than 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting. I have Holly Boyle. Sarah Holly Boyle? Okay. All right, I'm going up to the next name, Hazel Levine.
Hi, I'm Hazel Levine, 24 Godfrey Street, Mystic. Most of you recognize me. I've been here before in many meetings. Today I wanted to revisit athletic fields and thank everyone here, council members, for putting the phase 1 of athletic fields on the referendum that was voted in and is being worked on right now. In full disclosure, I'm a voting member of the Athletic Fields Task Force. I'm a new member of that, also the fields manager for the soccer club, and I'm a coach, and I just came from practice, where I just coached 2 girls' soccer teams at the same time on a very small field. I am here tonight because I'm feeling the pinch this season from athletic fields. I know where athletic fields is in the process of being expanded in our town, and I know we have the support of the council on that. But I think I'm here just to at least talk to the new council members that don't know me, to explain the need is increasing every season with the sports teams that are out there. And my real reason for being up here is just the joy that I see on the faces of the youth that are out there playing soccer. There's a lot of great growth and development as team members, as people, and I wanted to just, I guess, also not just youth. I've been playing pickup adult soccer and joining, my husband plays pickup frisbee, and the joy that I get from playing in these group sports with other people is something that I just wanted to come back and make sure that the council understands how packed the fields are and how much phase 2. So for those of you that are in the audience, phase 1 already passed, was on the last November's ballot for a new turf field up at the high school that was much needed. And then phase 2 is removing Clodchester and putting in new athletic fields there. And I'm just thinking that that could only be a wonderful addition to our town. So what I'm really here for tonight is I've gone ahead and I've assembled Monday through Friday all the practices that are on the local towns here. So all 3 fields at Pequannock. There's now 3 fields at Groton Community Center that the town has put together, and then Cloudchester and the library. I've assembled how many teams are practicing of different sports in multiple ways on each field throughout the night, and I have submitted it in my email that I passed, and I'll also leave a copy here for you. Basically, I just wanted to tell you that this table is based on my best assessment of what's happening out there in the field, in case I've seen some of you walking Pequannock on the track, so I know that you're out there and you see how many teams are playing out there, but this sort of sums it all together. And in particular, I was driven because the soccer club alone has 18 teams this season, the highest registration in the club's history ever. I'm hoping to just illustrate the demand and how much it's increasing as we speak. So the longer we wait, it's not going away. If you review the usage table, you'll see that at least 1 team is practicing on each field every night of the week. And it's not just soccer. I'm talking about this season. I see lacrosse is out there, football's out there. We have Special Olympics. We also have, I'm trying to think. I think I just said most of the main ones that are out there. I didn't even assemble the softball and baseball fields usage right now. But many of the fields are lined for multiple uses, and all the different sports are taking place at the same time. And sometimes the pickup groups are playing in between the spaces in the fields right now. I commend the town for its effort in managing all the permits and working with the sports groups to maximize this field usage. I mean, the season of all these sports wouldn't even happen if we didn't have really Parks and Rec organizing all of it and working with all of us together. And I'm really grateful for that. But I just want to really illustrate the current level of demand and the intensity of use that's going on. It's not really sustainable for the long term. And I really am happy to have the chance to give you these spreadsheet that I created. So thank you.
Next, we have Mark Ovinger. Oh, I said it wrong. I'm so sorry. No, it's not.
How soon they forget.
Change your name to Smith.
Mark Offinger, 201 Broad Street. I'm just here to request an opportunity to brief the council, either as a council or committee of the whole, on the status of the USS Groton Sail Foundation project. As you know, we've been working on this for quite a while. Couple of, just very quickly, just why I think time is of the essence, if we could come in and meet with you. The bits and pieces, as we call them, the sail and the fairwater planes and the rudders have finally left the subbase, and they're over at EB being refurbished. As I think all of you are aware, EB has graciously offered to do that work as part of their training program, and it's valued at around $2.5 million. We don't know the schedule of when those artifacts will be ready, but our sense is as soon as they are, EB's probably going to want them out of the yard because they're crammed for space. And so we have tripled our efforts from a fundraising standpoint between EB's in-kind contribution and funds raised to date. I should have noted, the project's around a $6.3 million project. We still need to raise around $2.1 million. And that's an estimate that is 3 or 4 months old. Lord knows what tariffs and everything else is going to do. We know it's not going to go down. But anyways, we would like the opportunity to brief the council, let you know where we are. There will probably, just as a heads up, be a request for some additional funding from the town, and/or any other suggestions you may have on how we can continue our outreach efforts with the public. So thank you.
Thank you. Genevieve Serve?
So to conclude, what I did not think was going to be a three-parter, I'd like to give you a couple of feeling good examples so that you get the idea of what my vision is. I live on Pearl Street now, and in a little house owned by Dick Dixon and Anne Marie that you all know. And I have upstairs as a neighbor a young new electric boat, a civil engineer, who is just the nicest person in the world. I just adore him. And he doesn't know I have a little garden in there. I have a big problem with the kids from Harp and Hound coming in there and relieving themselves at 2 o'clock in the morning, which I would love somebody would do something about because they're killing my plants. But anyway, to speak about my neighbor, he's suddenly discovered green things in the form of a pepper tree, a little pepper tree that he had. And I found him downstairs with 6 more pepper trees that he was stuffing in pots and things like that. And he brought them upstairs and put some lights in. And I said, "Do you know anything about gardening, Rylan?" He said, "No." I said, "Would you like to help me garden this summer?" He said, "Oh, yes." He said, "I've got my pepper trees and I love my pepper trees." And he was willing to do more. So, there are some young people here, the young lady from Avery Point, Hazel here, who are talking about doing more stuff outside. And I was remembering, I can't remember her name, but she was, I think, the head of the environmental protection in Connecticut before she used that same role under Obama. Her first name was Gina, I forgot her last name. Do you remember, Mark? No. Anyway, she wrote a book years and years ago, which was very prescient, called No Child Left Inside. And I think we're realizing more and more, we're having so many problems with the children because of the darn screens, which it turns out is not only absolutely unhealthy for the brain development, but they get depressed, they're isolated, all kinds of terrible things happen to children. Children really do need to be outside. And the more activities we can find for them, I'm all in favor of putting fields absolutely everywhere. In fact, I thought we should put a pee-wee baseball practice field on the Noank School, because there's enough room for that. And this goes with the idea of affordable housing being attractive and having a lot of greenery and possibly a community garden. If you have a housing project with 30 or 40 houses, you could have a community garden in the middle. There was a development in Texas that did this. They have a huge community garden, about 200 houses. And people are sort of fighting over who's going to get to work in the community garden, do the weeding, the watering, everything. People really have a yearning to get back to nature, to the soil. Kids have a yearning to get out and play, and they need it. And so when you think of building these developments and talking to these developers,
observing the meetings and for pretty much that whole time.
area is so rich in history around the Revolution that we really want to make sure we touch on a little bit of everything. There are also some walking tours on the list of calendar, and there'll be some cemetery tours coming up where they'll be highlighting some Revolutionary War patriots there as well. So try and get to some of these things. Tomorrow night, if you're a music buff, there's a program at the library tomorrow night that's Liberty to Legacy, which focuses on the music of the 1776 and Hamilton. So if you're a Hamilton fan, you'll be able to get some good fun stuff there. There's also another concert coming up, I believe, on the 16th. That is the Golden Nuggets Glee Club, who will be doing a whole rendition of lots of different patriotic songs. But the calendar of events for the library, you'll see, has things for all ages. It's not just for adults. There are kids' activities, all sorts of things, reading lists, fun stuff. And my last plug is for our parade on July 4th. We're the only parade here in our area for July 4th. So we get a lot of people from all over southeastern Connecticut coming to the parade. So if you're a business, a group, a song and dance routine, a kids sports group, and you want to get your group into the parade, use the QR code on the library's website, and you can go right to the application and get yourself all squared away. If you are one of those people who loves to dress in colonial dress, there will be some dress-up activities coming in the future, and our big event at Jabez Smith House will be on June 13th. So I hope to see some of you there, and go right to our website.
Thank you. And that's all I have signed up for citizens petitions. I'm going to call for a recess at 7:34. 4, 6, ready? All right, we are back from recess at 7:48, and we are now on to consent calendar. Counselor Fitzgerald, please. We have 6 people. Before you start, Counselor Bordelon came to the meeting at 6:36 PM. Thank you.
Item number 2026-362, April 14th, 2026, and April 21st, 2026 special meeting minutes. A resolution accepting the town council meeting minutes. Resolved that the town council's special meeting minutes of April 14th, 2026, and April 21st, 2026 are hereby accepted and approved.
Second, Jones?
Okay,
Oh,
You gonna
I'm
do that
sorry.
too?
the second one, please, too.
This one.
Special contributions, did we not have special contributions?
Item number 2025-1203, special trust fund contribution to May 2026. Resolution accepting contributions to special trust funds. Resolved that the town council hereby accepts contributions to the town as follows. Dennis and Diane Haynes, $190, Food Locker.
Just say food, just say them. It's fine.
The items are for the Food Locker, Groton Utilities Energy Assistance Program, and this Special Services discretionary funding.
Second, Jones?
Motion made by Fitzgerald, seconded by Counselor Jones. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is 6-0 to 0. Thank you. Okay, communication reports. Counselor Burrell.
One thing I wanted to say is I want to say good job for the Groton police officers with the jumper on the bridge, rescuing them. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Thank you. Counselor Bordelon?
Thank you. I want to thank everyone who came out and spoke. I appreciate it. And I'm excited, I definitely think that the Groton sale should be something that we talk about and figure out how to get that going. I'm in full support of that project, with it being a big submarine community. As many of you know, my husband was born on the naval base. His father's retired military. Both my boys are serving in the submarine force, and so I think it's such a great thing for Groton. So I'm really excited, and I hope that does become an agenda item. I did receive some communication just asking about some of the things on our agenda. Thanks to the mayor, I'm glad that I brought that forward, and the consideration of looking at ways to make sure that we're not boxing out public comment. Again, I tried to ask, I didn't get anywhere, and I guess the tides have turned, and I appreciate that. It's always, one thing that's good is it's always good to bring something up, and maybe a change of heart will happen. So tonight, I'm in full support of it. I did not make the referral because typically I don't get a lot of seconds on my referral from the council. So I'm glad someone else did, but I feel like, speaking up was important for that. I will be putting a referral in to discuss making sure we do a last call for people that speak. We are a working community. And people sometimes have things arise and they can't send an email, or they don't have technology. And we have, since I've been elected for the last 8 or 9 years, maybe now, 7.5, I don't know where I'm at, I probably should count it. It's always been that way. It was that way on the RTM, it's been that way on the council. We've always just said, is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to speak? And we've offered them to come speak. So I just think that that's so important. We're here to do the people's work. We're elected by the people, for the people's, for the community. And so we should be as open as possible to letting people have any and all opportunity if they arrive here at 6:35. As long as public comment is still going on, it was always the will that anyone still got to speak. And I taking that away, it only sends the wrong message. So again, tonight, we'll start with that new referral, and that's a great sign for things to come. Again, if we can't do the people's work and we have to cancel as a council because we don't have a quorum, we have an obligation to make sure that that public comment is added to the next meeting, in my opinion. So, and again, thank you to the police officers for the bridge rescue. I personally am not sharing the video because a couple of people have reached out to me from in the community, and some people are saddened even though the face is blocked off. It's still, you got to remember that's somebody's family member, and resharing that video can be traumatic for some. So I choose not to, but I do thank the police officers for doing the people's work and de-escalating and helping. And I would caution folks who continue to share the video, even with the blurred out face, it's still, you can hear and see that person in trauma, and it can be a little overwhelming for people. We can celebrate the victory, but maybe not share the video. Thank you.
Council Fitzgerald.
I just want to start by saying thank you to everyone who came out tonight for both public hearings and for public comment. The time you put into coming and sharing your both requests and your perspectives on how we can really do the public's will is appreciated and doesn't go unnoticed. I really appreciate everyone who comes out and shares your thoughts. A few other items I just want to mention. I did notice that there's an installation of the new trash compactors in downtown Mystic. I think they're a big contribution to downtown, both as a aesthetic change as well as a sustainability change. This past week I attended the TVCCA board meeting, and also I was connected by a friend a planning professional in Westerly who's working on a campaign about extending Shoreline East with some initial concepts about adding a station in Groton, and his ask to me was that I would connect him with the town manager and the planning director. I think there's some merits in this idea, I just, I see that as an early contribution. That was his request, was that he could be connected. I also received some communications about the budget, and I just want to say I appreciate the outreach as well on the athletic fields. Growing up, was fortunate enough to use some of our athletic fields through youth sports, and currently do so as adult athletic programs. And I just want to say how lucky we are we have such a robust youth sports program with all the volunteers who make that possible. And I think it's important that we are deliberate about providing them the resources with the comment about the demand for the fields. I think that's the least we can do is just provide the space and invest in that, given that it's a value just both for the development of our youth as well as just so I think it's one of the best things about town is the number of parks and open spaces we have, and it requires conducive investment to meet the demand. And it's a good thing that there's such a demand because it shows that our residents are really appreciating that as a resource. So I really appreciate the comments about that and hope we can make a difference there. And that's all for me.
Thank you. Council Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I echo the thoughts the fellow councilors have had on public hearings. I thank everybody who came out today. We had a very good attendance for this month's council meeting. I also like to thank this council and the past council for the efforts that were done in bringing forth the Veteran Services Rep position. We had tremendous help from Council Pacino and the town manager, Burt. It's been a 3-year process to add this now required service to the town, but to bring it to the town as a new service that we will be able to serve the residents. The Veteran Service Rep is a person who helps our veteran community find the resources. There are veteran service reps and veteran service officers. The first level is the rep. And so it would be a great addition to our town. About 11% of our population are veterans, and a lot of them are older veterans and who need to access a lot of the services they haven't used for a long, long time. So I'm very pleased. It took a lot of effort. Council Pacino, town manager Burt, and myself all did the training to learn about what this position involved. And I think it'll be a great addition to the town and to our veterans. And I just thank everybody, including all my fellow councilors who helped move that forward. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Merritt.
Nothing.
Councilor Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through the mayor to the town manager, if you could add to your reports this evening, status on the playground at the Mary Morrison, where we're at with that. And my words of wisdom here, let's see. So, thank you very much and I commend Madam Mayor for the referral for this change in the rules. And one of the things that was been mentioned a few times is we've always done this before. Chapter 10 in the Roberts Rules, Section 6. Sometimes a group gets into a habit of doing something in the same way over and over again until it becomes an established custom. It comes to be followed practically as if it were a written rule. No matter how long established a custom is, however, it can never conflict with the written rule. And if the conflict is pointed out, the written rule must be followed unless it is amended to incorporate the custom. That's all I got for that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Councilor Good and Councilor McBride informed the town manager and I that they would not be here this evening. Many of us councilors attended the RTM budget's first night of budget session. We received emails for the POCD, athletic fields, the budget Councilor Fisher mentioned. I want to thank our state representatives for their continued support for Groton. And I realize I missed 2 proclamations. So I want to thank our municipal clerks, because it's your week. This week is May 3rd through the 9th. And as well as, it looks like it's Public Service Recognition Week. So thank everyone for what they do. Thank you guys for all your support and for our community. It's much appreciated. National Day of Prayer will be held at Thrive 55 at 5 p.m. in Community Room 1. All are welcome. No matter the denomination, all are welcome. On that note, I have nothing to add until we go to the next agenda item. Thank you. Clerk of the Council. Clerk of the RTM.
At 6 p.m. and the regular RTM meeting is May 13 at 7 p.m. at Thrive 55. There's 1 minority seat in District 4, and that looks like it will be filled next week. Nothing else.
Thank you. Town Manager.
Good evening. I also want to thank Officers Aldi and Brillen for their great work with the gentleman in crisis on the bridge. They did a great job. Credit to the department, certainly. Groton sale, I've already communicated with Mark Offinger, and we're set for the second cow of May for them to attend. Playground at Mary Morrison, no new update other than it's a Board of Ed project, and their intent is to have it ready for the opening of school in the fall. I don't think it'll be much before that likely, but that's the latest. We did a first round cleaning of the field space behind it. It's going to take several visits to get that all the way cleaned out, but we did go earlier this week, or yesterday, I believe, to start cleaning. So they'll be doing it as they can. Let's see. And we've been working on the Human Services donate button for a long time. You'd be surprised how much software work, finance department work, IT work that goes into actually doing that. We're getting very close, so I hope to have that going very soon. We'll do a real promotion to try to get that out there to everybody. And that's all I have. Oh, one other thing, but on the vet rep, I'm meeting with someone on the base later this month at the Retired Affairs office at the Family Support Center to talk more about the position, just to kick around the job description and learn more about what they do there. So I'll be doing that in a couple weeks.
Question? I'm raising my hand, I just don't want to get forgotten, so I'm just verbalizing that I have my hand up.
Are you doing a point of information, or
Yeah, I have a question for the town manager.
through me?
Yep.
Can you
Yeah.
state that, please, through the mayor?
I'm still waiting for you to be recognized. Are you paying attention?
I just asked you, can you
Sure,
ask
through
it?
the mayor to the town manager. I have a quick question on the Colonel Ledger school. You know, we keep talking about development. Where do we stand on that one?
They're still in compliance. They have, I put it in an email recently to the town council, but they have until, I think it's mid-27, yeah, until about mid-27 to complete the current phase, or else it would revert back to us.
Okay. Any updates about the seawall?
No, nothing's, I'm not involved in that.
That is not a
Yeah.
topic, that's not ours, so.
They asked us for funding in the past, that's why I was asking if there's any more ask for funding. My other question is, any updates for human service status of funds that they have currently?
With the, as you know, the first quarter transfer, we're looking at another 50,000. I think they've already started going into that by about 10,000, so that leaves about 40,000, but we only go to the end of next month, so it should work out fine. And we still have our trust fund that we haven't touched at all.
Okay, and so you think we're all set?
Yeah.
And when will that need to be relooked at?
Well, we started a new budget year, so we'll already have money in the budget to start, but we'll see how it evolves.
All right, thank you.
Council Merritt?
Yes, in regards to the sale project at the library, how much support do we still have from the federal government for maintenance?
I believe, my understanding is the maintenance fell through, that there is no maintenance agreement for it with the federal government.
After we accepted it?
Part of their intent of fundraising was to put away some extra money to help with maintenance, but looking at how much there's still left to raise, I'm not sure where it'll go. But yeah, my understanding is they were working with, I forgot the name of the group within the Navy, but that did not materialize.
Thank you.
Council Merritt, I pointed out to Council Bordelon, can you ask to speak to him through me, through the mayor, please? Thank you. Okay, are you, Mr. Burt, you're all set?
I'm all set, yes.
Okay, thank you. Going on to committee reports. Committee of the Whole, we are discussing items that we already have that's on the agenda this evening, so I will be moving forward with that. Chairperson Good is not here, but Councilor Pacino, do you have anything to report for the personal appointments?
No meeting, no report.
Thank you. Rules Chair, Councilor Pacino.
Hey, that's me.
Yes.
Okay, we did have a meeting. It was last Tuesday at 5:30. We had two things on the agenda. We voted one of them down, and one of them is going to be spoken to tonight.
Thank you. Public Safety Chair, Councilor Burrell.
No meeting, no report.
Thank you. Okay, now on to new business. Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 2026-348, Amendment to Rule 11, Citizens Petitions Resolution. Can we just do the resolve or the whole thing?
Oh, read the whole thing.
Resolution amending rules for the 35th Town Council. Whereas at the Town Council meeting on February 6, 2026, the Town Council adopted 35th Town Council rules and procedures, and whereas at their April 28th meeting, the Town Council Rules and Procedures Committee recommended that language be added to the citizens petition section of the rules, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council amends the rules of procedure of the 35th Council with the following addition to be effective immediately. Rule 11, citizens petition E, special meetings that are held in replacement of a canceled, regularly scheduled town council meeting shall include citizens petitions. So moved.
Second?
Motion made by Jones, seconded by Counsel Bordelon and Counsel Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe that, that we discussed if the petitions were in citizens. Scratch it. I wasn't thinking straight. We're good.
Counsel Bordelon and then Counsel Jones.
Thank you. Again, I commend our mayor for seeing the light on this and having a change of heart. I tried to bring this
Can you
forward.
not talk
Sure.
about my heart? It
Sure.
was-
I brought this forward originally, and I didn't really think it had to come to this. It was, to me, written out, spelled out pretty clearly, in my opinion. When I spoke to the town manager, I know one counselor read some rules of about just because it doesn't mean it needs to be. When I spoke to the town manager, one of the reasons that this was not going to be changed originally was because that's how it always was. So this is a great example of just because it was, you need to look at the revision and what's best for the community. So I can agree with Councilor Pacino's reading in his book with that. I support this 100%. This is what I was trying to bring up the night before. As many know, I speak for myself. Most things that I put forward, I'm usually the outlier up here for the most part. Some things go through, some things don't. So I'm thankful that the mayor put this through, and a couple other councilors saw the email before I did, and were able to move this forward. So to me, it's common sense. We're here to do the people's work. And if we're going to cancel a meeting that has public comment, you should cancel the whole meeting, and it should replicate itself on the other end. That's what you do in business. That's what you do in anything else in life. That's what I do in my personal life. I don't cancel a doctor's appointment and only do half of it, and do all that's on that agenda for the day. So it's only natural that if we cancel one that has public comment, it should be re-added. Again, I'm against public comment only being once a month. I think, why let people wait and get upset? Let's open our doors, right? A friendly environment and allowing people that, we're available at any time and any time of the month. It could be twice a month. And the rules do provide for that as well. But we have not considered doing that. So this is something for me that I'm happy that actually Ian, my husband, took the step further and reached out and got the answer that stated, in fact, this can be done. It's for the people, and that's what they wanted. The night that the meeting was canceled, 3 weeks prior to the meeting being scheduled on the 21st, when we didn't have a quorum, I asked the town manager via text, I said, hey, can we add special meeting? He said, speak to the mayor. And so I did, and we didn't move. So this is a great opportunity. I just wish sometimes we can get there a little bit sooner, and it doesn't have to be, when I bring something up, it didn't have to be, I feel, my opinion, shut down. It should have been deliberated, and if in future someone brings something up.
Point of order. Please do not discuss the intent of why it was done. Just please state the rest of your.
So my feeling is, it's not intent. My feeling is if a counselor brings something up, there should be an equal fair ruling, and I encourage the town clerk and the town manager, or whoever our Roberts Rules person is, to look into it. And even if the mayor chooses not to want to do that, it should be stated as such, not that it's an FOI rule. So someone else should know the rules to validate the rules. One can choose not to, but to say that it's falling behind a rule is a different response. So in my opinion, I talked to other towns, looked at other councilors, and they said, if council brings something up, everyone should have fair and equal access. And I just asked for that floor to be granted. So tonight, I feel like it's a win. I'm thankful for this, and I hope everyone will support it. It should have just been done. Thank you.
Counsel Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Point of information.
I apologize before you start.
I'm sorry. I didn't read from my book. I read from the Roberts Rules that we all must abide by.
Point of order?
Wait. What's your point of order?
You didn't, could we just speak at any time and ask to speak?
I said go ahead.
Okay, sure. So can I raise my hand and respond?
No,
Oh,
we're
see?
not.
See? It's not equal.
I was given
fair
to
access.
stop him because he said a point of information. He did not ask a question, so please let me handle the meeting. Thank
Sure.
you.
So
Thank you.
you
Councilor
didn't
Jones.
stop him on the record.
I just said I would, Lord,
You let him finish his whole statement.
you said a point of order, so I took that. Can we?
You didn't say you validated it.
Thank you, Council Bordelon.
Thank you.
Councilor Jones, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Excuse me for one moment. Please, no talking on, it's decorum, it's Rule 6, please.
Thank you.
He has the floor.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you all set?
Yep, thank you.
You sure?
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Jones. Can you hit the time?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just some clarifications on this. I was one of the people who seconded this petition, or this rule change. Just in my history, I've been here for 5 years, we've only had one meeting, one special meeting that's been moved. From what I understand, in the recent past number of years, there have only been 2, with one of them being the one that was just recently. So it's not something that happens very often. I just want to clarify the word regular in here. The word regular applies to just the scheduled meeting, scheduled council meetings that happen once a month. There are about 12 of them in a year. And so those are the only meetings that this applies to. And those are meetings that have been scheduled, that we vote on and schedule, and then are given to the Secretary of State for Connecticut as regularly scheduled meetings. That's what this applies to. We often have short special meetings for a grant or something like that that happen during a regular COW meeting. This does not apply to those at all. This is only to those 12, those 12 special meetings, those 12 regular meetings that we have in the course of every year. So it's something that's very unusual. It has, as I say, it's only happened to me in 5 years once, so it isn't something that we have to really worry about a whole lot, but it's nice to have it here. So, thank you.
Anyone else before I speak? No, yeah, I have the floor.
You just asked if anyone wants to speak, so I just raised my hand.
Yes, but you already spoke, so thank you.
That's all you have to say.
Go ahead. So, yes, I did put this referral forward. There are 2 things going on here. Yes, it is under FOI, because it's General Statute 1-225, where it states, a special meeting must be noticed, it was noticed, agenda must be posted at least 24 hours in advance, and only items on the notice may be discussed. It's not optional, it's state law. It's on the Connecticut website, so it's accessible for everyone. Business not included in the call of the special meeting cannot be considered. This is stricter than Robert's rules. I will get to that in a moment. FOI is more specific and stricter than Robert's Rules of Order newly revised when it comes to special meetings and special comment. Special comment, Connecticut FOI does not require public comment at special meetings. Under Robert's Rules, public comments are not a default requirement and are generally not allowed at special meetings, which are restricted to business specifically listed in the call. The reason why it was not added is because it's a special meeting that was not recognized through the state, because we had to do a special thing. Councilor Jones did say that. We have specific meetings that are sent to the state. This was a special meeting to do a meeting that had to be canceled. Our rules state that we have to have 6 people at a meeting to open a meeting. We had 5 only going to be available, hence had to cancel the meeting. That life happens, and instead of coming here and sitting here in public for everyone to show up at a meeting where I would have had to cancel the meeting, it was canceled. I felt it was disrespectful for everyone to come out and sit here and wait, and hence the reason for having the special meeting. Special meetings are for specific pre-notified business. Allowing public comment on unrelated topics is usually inappropriate. So I heard from Councilor Bordelon, and I saw the email, and read back and reviewed and said, okay, I can come up with a rule change, a referral. Thank you to Councilor McBride and Councilor Jones for seconding it. This is only if a town council meeting is canceled, which is usually the first Tuesday of the month, only time. I just want to reiterate that for the public. We have not had a second town council meeting since before 2016, and we were not on the council at the time when they changed the rules. If anybody would like to do that, they can send a referral. That's my time. Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yep.
Councilor Bordelon for your second term.
Thank you. So as it was stated, and, you know, there was plenty enough time per what was just read when we canceled the meeting that it could. And per my understanding from the state and FOI, just like you rescheduled the meeting, and it's a meeting that was already set, you know, with the state, you could add the public comment like we're allowing to do here moving forward. So it was in the preview that we could have done it. I understand that this is not for any other meetings. I know that's been regurgitated and restated many times. That's pretty self-explanatory here. I think it would be nice for accessibility since there's more strict rules on public comment now where people don't get the all call at the end. So if they're running late, we're working, you know, folks, you know, most people get out of work around 4 or 5, maybe have to pick up kids from sporting events and getting here, maybe try to have some dinner. It is helpful that, you know, you might get in the door at 6:35, and if public comment's still going on, they're still able to speak. So it would be nice to have it for 2, but this one's for 1 for now. This is a win. I think it's great. But it was able to be done with the amount of time. There was plenty of time from the date that it was canceled to the actual reschedule, which was almost, I think, 2.5, 3 weeks, way beyond the time that it would need to be posted. So that was the ask. But if we have to make a rule change to make it happen, I'm excited for that. I think it's a great option for the community, even though it's only happened twice that some people are remembering. I actually remember maybe 1 or 2 other ones, and I was on a little bit longer. It's just never been rescheduled, and then people come at the following one really upset. So I think this will be welcomed, and I'm happy for this. Thank you.
And Councilor Fitzgerald.
Madam Mayor, I realize we've been talking about this for about 10 minutes. It seems like we're in agreement on this rule change, and I'd like to call the question.
Second.
Question's been called by Councilor Fitzgerald and seconded by Councilor Burrell. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is 7-0. Question is called. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is 7-0. Moving on to the next agenda item. Actually, I think I'll take this one.
Point of information?
Point of information?
We don't need to vote now on the item?
We just did.
Well, I thought we were calling the question.
We did. That was 7-0, and I said now.
And then we what? I just want to make sure I didn't.
Madam Clerk, did we just vote on that agenda
I thought we just
item?
voted to call the question.
We did both.
Oh, we did. Okay, just want to make sure we did, because it, thank you.
Okay, we are now on agenda item 2026-357-1, Learn Lease and Ground Lessor Consent Resolution. And I will be taking that, and I'm going to read the last whereas to the now therefore to the end. Whereas 233 Genesee Street Corporation and M&T Bank are unwilling to extend the financing unless, well, actually, you know what? Let me read the whole thing. Let's just do this for the public. Resolution approving a notice of ground lease and ground lessor consent agreement between the Town of Groton, Learn, and 233 Genesee Street Corporation. Whereas the Town of Groton owns land at 130 Shinnecock Road, Groton, Connecticut, formerly known as the Eastern Point School Site, and leases that land to Learn, a regional education service center for its building and other facilities now known as the Marine Science Magnet High School ground lease. Whereas the ground lease has a 30-year initial term that commenced on April 1st, 2009, and expires on July 31st, 2039, together with two successive 20-year renewal terms. Whereas pursuant to Section 4 of the ground lease, the leased premises must be used solely solely public school purposes and activities incidental to using the property for public school purposes. Whereas in order to finance certain regional educational improvements to certain real property Learn owns in Waterford, Connecticut, Learn, the leasee under the ground lease, desires to encumber its leasehold interest in the ground lease by granting to 233 Genesee Street Corporation, an affiliate of M&T Bank, a leasehold mortgage and such other security interests as are required or permitted to secure the financial obligations to 233 Genesee Street Corporation and M&T Bank, which have agreed to extend short-term revolving and other credit to the Learn Project, Inc., for the construction of the regional education improvements to be located in Waterford. Whereas pursuant to Section 21 of the ground lease, Learn may not assign the ground lease or any part thereof, or sublet the leased premise without the Town of Groton's prior consent, a copy of which was presented to the Town Council Committee of the Whole on April 28, 2026. Whereas pursuant to Section 30 of the ground lease, Learn is not permitted to record the ground lease or memorandum thereof on the Groton land records necessitating. Thank you. The Town of Groton's consent to the inclusion of details of the ground lease in the leasehold mortgage records to be recorded on Groton land records. And whereas 233 Genesee Street Corporation and M&T are unwilling to extend the financing unless the Town of Groton renders its consent, covenants, and agreements as set forth in a certain notice of ground lease and ground lessor consent agreement. Now, therefore, in consideration of the foregoing, the Town Council hereby resolves that the Town of Groton be and hereby is authorized and directed to enter into and perform all covenants and obligations of the town under that certain notice of ground lease and ground lessor consent agreement, also known as agreement, between the town, Learn, and 233 Genesee Street Corporation, the form and content of which shall be the same or substantially the same as that previously presented to the Town of Groton Committee of the Whole. 2, the Town of Groton consents to Learn granting a leasehold mortgage in the ground lease in favor of 233 Genesee Street Corporation as contemplated by said agreement. And 3, the town manager be and hereby is authorized and directed to execute, deliver, and record said agreement and all other documents ancillary thereto, and to take such other actions by and on behalf of the town as may be necessary or desirable to enforce, administer, and fulfill the town's rights and obligations under said agreement.
Second.
As a move.
Second?
Motion made by Mayor Parker, seconded by Councilor Bordelon. Any discussion? Councilor Bordelon.
I think this is a great opportunity, and it's a good partnership as Learn has been, doing so much for New London County and the community. So for me, it's a no-brainer. We spoke about this already, so I think it's, and through the mayor, through the town manager, he said it's no liability to us. It's not going to affect any of our bonding or any of our financial stability. Right. So, thank you.
Any other hands? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's 7-0. Moving on to the next agenda item. Councilor Pacino, could you take that, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Where do you want me to read from? The whole recommended action or
No, this one, no, we're good at the whereas.
the last whereas?
Oh, actually, do the whereas from the related, from page 42. The whereas where the related foundation.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 2026-285, Related Affordable Foundation Grant Resolution, Parks and Recreation. Whereas the Related Affordable Foundation has awarded the Town of Groton a grant in the amount of $15,280 to support the expansion of the Go Groton initiative, and whereas this funding will enable the town to provide bicycles, helmets, and locks to all identified children in the Bradford Manor community, eliminating the need to limit participation, and whereas the town has partnered with a local bike shop to ensure proper fitting of bicycles and helmets and to promote safety and maximize purchasing power through volume pricing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town council hereby accepts the grant award in the amount of $15,280 from the related Affordable Foundation to support the Go Get Outdoors Groton initiative and refers the item to the RTM per Rule 6.5.3.
Second, Parker. Motion made by Counselor Pacino, seconded by Mayor Parker. Any discussion? Seeing no hands, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is 7
Aye.
to
Sorry.
7 to 0 to 0. We are now on to the next agenda item. Counselor Burrell, are you willing to do that one, or would you like to
Yeah, you pass.
pass? Counselor Merritt, would you like to read the 2026-300 FYE 2026 fourth quarter transfers? Page 43, or would you like to pass?
Would you like the entire page or just the resolution?
The whereas on the on page 44 down to the resolved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Whereas the town charter also provides for the transfer of funds from one departmental function to another departmental function during the last 3 months of the fiscal year, and whereas transfers and a supplemental appropriation are necessary and represent unforeseen or unexpected expenditures at the time the FYE 2026 budget was adopted, now therefore be it resolved that transfers totaling $225,000 be transferred from contingency number 1074 and $270,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to the following general fund departments, functions, and transfers of $10,000 or more are referred to the RTM for approval. Public Works 103-506-5104 at $150,000 emergency snow response overtime. Public Works 103-506-5300 at $145,000 emergency snow response materials. Public Works 103-502-5290 at $95,000 police department chimney extension. Library 106-303-5400 at $30,000 to cover costs for audio equipment for public meetings. Contributions to other funds 107-309-5230 at $50,000. Higher demand for basic needs, HS fund. Can I question what HS fund is?
Human Services. Human Services.
Okay, thank you. Human Services Fund. Insurance and claims, 107-005-5289 at $25,000. Ongoing legal response work for pending and future claims.
Second, Pacino.
Motion made by Counselor Merritt, seconded by Counselor Pacino. Discussion. Seeing no hands, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 That
Aye.
is 7 to 0 to 0. Okay, Counselor Fitzgerald.
Item number 2026-301, extension of CIP funds resolution. Resolution to extend the expiration dates of CIP funds for downtown Mystic parking management and vacant schools reuse. Whereas a CIP was funded in FYE 2022 to study and implement changes for parking in Mystic, and whereas the CIP for this project has $12,152 remaining funds in the account, which will expire on June 30th, 2026, and return to the general fund. And whereas the 35th Town Council's goal number 7 was to focus funding and effort on solving the downtown Mystic parking issue And the Planning, Development, and Public Works Department requests to use those funds beyond the end of this fiscal year to work on this issue. And whereas the town also adopted a CIP in FYE 2022 for vacant school analysis and reuse, specifically for the former Claude Chester and S.B. Butler schools. And whereas the CIP for this project has $86,375 remaining funds in the account, which will expire on June 30th, 2026, and return to the general fund. And whereas the Planning, Development, and Public Works Department requests to use those funds beyond the end of this fiscal year to continue to work on the future use analysis for these properties. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council hereby approves a 3-year extension for the Downtown Mystic Parking Management CIP, number 501010-5870, and the Vacant School Analysis and Reuse CIP, number 501010-5717.
Second, Jones.
Motion made by Fitzgerald, seconded by Jones. Any discussion? Council Bordelon?
Thank you. Through the mayor to the town manager, does this change anything that's already been done for the parking study, or does it enhance? Like, 'cause I know there was a study, there was the parking thing that was done in the past. I'm just curious as to what.
I think it's mostly to keep it available because it's a priority of the council to look at downtown Mystic Park. You want to make sure that funding stays in place for needs as we move forward.
Do we know like what we're needing, like, or like how do we?
Not until we discuss, we just didn't want the money to disappear.
Okay. And if we don't end up using it, then is it being held in a certain fund, or where is it?
It's just one of our capital project funds.
Okay.
It just remains where it is.
Right. And then if it ever has to be moved out, then it can just be, I'm sorry?
Yeah, it's just a CIP. If we have use of it, we spend directly from there.
Yeah.
If we get to a point where we're done spending, we can close it out, or else it'll eventually time out.
And that'll just move back into the general fund?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other hands? Seeing no other hands, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey,
That is 7-0. Counselor Jones?
2026-347, 2026 Neighborhood Assistance Act Program Schedule PH Resolution. Resolved that the Town Council hereby sets a public hearing for the 2026 Neighborhood Assistance Act for June 2nd, 2026. So moved.
Second?
Motion made by Jones, seconded by Counselor Bordelon. Discussion. Okay, seeing no hands, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, 7-0. Moving on to 2026-346, Collective Bargaining Agreement, Local 818. Is that supposed to be AFSME,
AFSME.
It's with a C, correct?
It's AFSME.
AFSME, but does it have a
AFS.
C? Go ahead, say it again.
AFS.
AFS, resolution approving the tentative agreement, resolution approving the tentative agreement reached between the town and Local 818 of Council Number 4, AFSME, AFL-CIO, for the term July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. Whereas the town of Groton and Local 818 of Council Number 4, AFSME, AFL-CIO, reached a tentative agreement on a successor collective bargaining agreement for the period of July 1st to 2025 through June 30th, 2028. And whereas the bargaining unit membership voted to approve the agreement, and whereas approval is recommended by the town's negotiators, therefore be it resolved, the Groton Town Council hereby approves the agreement and the expenditures of funds necessary to implement the agreement, inclusive of Attachment C, pension agreement between the town and Local 818 of Council Number 4, AFSME, AFL-CIO, on a successor collective bargaining agreement for the period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. I so move.
Second, Jones.
Motion made by Parker, seconded by Jones. Any discussion? Council Bordelon?
Thank you. I'm a firm, I stand behind my votes for unions always. I think it's very important. Always think that union work is, when we're going out for bids for things and just supporting our unions, I think it's very imperative that we do that. So I, think that this is, always something that if it's being brought forward to us as an agreement that we support. So I'm definitely in favor of this, and I thank all the unions for their hard work in our community.
Any other hands? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That is 7-0. Counselor Pacino, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 2026-286, collective bargaining agreement, telecommunications, local number 5378, IAFF resolution. Resolution approving the tentative agreement reached between the town and Groton Telecommunicators, Local 5378 IAFF, for the term July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. Whereas the town of Groton and Local 5378 of the IAFF reached a tentative agreement on the successor collective bargaining agreement for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. And whereas the bargaining unit membership voted to approve the agreement, and whereas approval is recommended by the town's negotiators, therefore be it resolved, the town council hereby approves the agreement and the expenditure of funds necessary to implement the agreement, inclusive of the agreement of parties for an agreement providing for pensions for members of the Groton Telecommunicators Local 5378 IAFF, and inclusive of Exhibit A Town of Groton proposed cash balance plan for telecommunicators, summary of plan provisions between the town and Local 5378 IAFF, and a successor collective bargaining agreement for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Second?
Motion made by Counselor Pacino, second by Counselor Fitzgerald. Any discussion? Seeing no hands, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 That passes 7-0.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion made
Second?
by Counselor Jones, second by Counselor Bordelon. All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7-0. We are adjourned at 8:42 PM. Thank you.